What is the ultimate secret to achieving your financial freedom? What are the steps you need to take to start working on your financial independence journey? Almost every client asks this question during our 20-minute introductory session, which is absolutely free if you visit firesidechat.com/introductory. Every one of you watching this video has your own story about your personal finances. There is not a singular or a simple answer to your question as to how to achieve your dream to be financially independent. So this is when I ask my client, what does it mean to you when you become financially independent? If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Sai and welcome to my channel. I break down a lot of the retirement numbers and how to calculate your retirement numbers in this channel with spreadsheets and all that. But in this video, I'm gonna go over how I got started on my financial independence journey and how my wife and I are following the 10 steps to achieving our financial freedom. As a financial coach, about 20% of my time is solving clients' math problems, but 80% of my time is spent on adjusting their financial mindset. And I can give you all the solutions to how much you need to invest each month or what types of investment accounts you need to retire early, but it's completely up to you on how long you want to be on the financial independence journey. So the first step I took was writing down my big financial goals. I just grabbed a piece of paper, it was my napkin, and a pen and start writing things down. In 2014, my net worth was negative $250,000 with $110,000 in consumer debt. Yep, you heard that right. My first goal was to get out of debt as soon as possible because I just couldn't live paycheck to paycheck anymore. My second goal was to invest in financial education and understand how millionaires became millionaires. And my third goal was to retire early before age 60 because I realized how short my life is and I want to truly enjoy it by spending more time with my family and traveling the world. My other goal is to either donate my time and money to help others in need. And I want to go to the grocery store and pay for other people's groceries. And I want to bring food to the homeless shelters. I want to donate my time to the children's hospital. When you write down your financial goals, you need to make sure they're measurable, achievable, and realistic. And it's probably unrealistic to become a millionaire overnight unless you win the lottery, right? I would suggest you write down the timeline of your net worth. So something like you're gonna have $1,000 saved in 3 months, you're gonna have $10,000 in a year, you're gonna have $100,000 invested in 3 to 5 years or something like that. For people on the FIRE journey, they also write down their desired retirement age and absolute retirement age. For us, our desired retirement age is 45 and our absolute retirement age is 50. And it's okay if you don't have a perfect plan to achieve your financial goals right now. I wrote down my financial goals on a piece of napkin when I sat in the restaurant on the day I completely paid off my debt back in 2016. The second step I took was to assess my current financial situation. Here are the 3 things I always ask my clients: their income, expenses, and savings. You need to know how much is coming in and how much is going out and how much is being saved and invested. I also put together a net worth statement like I did in 2014, and that's when I found out how deep of a hole I was in with my finances. You want to put together your total assets and your total debt, and then you subtract your debt from your assets, and that gives you the total net worth. If you have debt, you need to write down how much you owe in total, how much you pay each month, and break them down between principal and interest and the interest rate for each debt that you owe. And let's say you have a car loan, you write down your monthly payment, and I'll just say it's $400 a month. The interest rate is at, let's say, 4%. And the total loan balance as of today is $20,000. So instead of paying off your loan in 5 years, I want you to create a debt payoff plan in a year and ask yourself if you could do it in a year. And if you have $50,000 in a student loan right now, could you pay it off in a year? How about 2 years? My financial coaching program can help you create a debt payoff plan, and the goal is to pay it off within a year, but that also depends on your income and the size of your debt, right? The next thing I did was pull up my total expenses. How much did I pay in HOA, utilities, and gas? How much did I pay for groceries and restaurants every month? Once that's all done, I look at how much I was investing towards my retirement, And that could be your 401k, TSP, or IRA. I wrote down what percentage of my gross income and my take-home income I was contributing towards my retirement. For example, if I made $100,000 a year in gross income and I contributed $15,000 a year towards my 401k and IRA, then that's 15% of my gross income going towards my retirement. By the way, you can get our free FIRE resources by visiting firesidechat.com/contact. You can also check out the Fireside Chat shop, and I have all of my stuff on my bookshelf at firesidechat.com/shopping. The third step I took was to take a look at my credit scores. And my credit score back in 2013 or 2014 was just absolutely awful. And it was like around 600 or something like that. And there are so many websites to get a copy of your credit report for free. And if they try to make you pay to see your credit score, then it's a scam, okay? By federal law, consumers can request a free copy of their credit report once a year. And I personally like using Experian.com, and it's completely free to sign up. I get an email alert from that website whenever my credit score increases or decreases, or whenever my credit usage or income to debt ratio changes. And I am not sponsored by Experian, I wish, but I just want to make sure you're aware of it. When you get a copy of your credit report, I would take a look at the negative factors or negative information that might be hurting your credit scores. If you have anything that you want to dispute, like if you see anything inaccurate on your report, you can write a letter to the credit bureau, and the bureau has like 45 days to investigate and respond to you. On Experian, you can actually dispute your information on their website, and it's really easy to do, so I will put their link in the description below. Your credit scores will be really important to you, especially if you're looking to buy a house in the future, and having a good credit score could save you thousands of dollars on mortgage interest. The fourth step I took was to prioritize my savings and investment accounts, and I'm gonna pull up mine for example, and this is not a simple thing to do because your financial situation could be different from mine. But our number one priority is to invest in our employer-sponsored retirement accounts up to the employer match. The second priority was to fully fund our emergency fund, and that was anywhere between 3 and 6 months in expenses. The third priority was to maximize our contributions to our HSAs and IRAs, and I will link those videos in our description below. The next priority was to maximize our employer-sponsored retirement accounts, and this year we could contribute up to $20,500. Your investment strategy will also depend on your income and expenses. And once you pay off your debt, your initial goal is to save at least 15% of your income. And as our income went up, we increased our retirement contributions from 15% to 20%, 25%, and then eventually 30%. Once we maximize our retirement contributions, we open a taxable brokerage account to invest our excess cash into our non-retirement account. We also opened several savings accounts to fund our lifestyle, invest for my daughter's future, and create generational wealth. Once we prioritized our savings and investment accounts, our fifth step was to set up automatic contributions. We created a comprehensive budget system so that our money goes directly to our savings and investment accounts. What's really amazing about the automatic investments is that we don't think twice about these savings. We have allocated how much money we're going to spend on restaurants each month. We have allocated how much money we're going to spend on travel next month. We've allocated how much money we're going to invest for our future every single month. Sounds simple, right? But it's only simple if you consistently track your expenses, which is your sixth step. And if you're in debt, I always recommend that you track your expenses every single day. Your money is tight because you're putting every dollar you possibly can to pay off your debt, right? If you're out of debt, then I recommend you track your spending at least twice a week. It doesn't matter if your net worth is $100,000, $500,000, or you're a millionaire. You should always track your expenses on your budget. If you're not a spreadsheet person, there are so many apps out there that can help you track your expenses. If you're my client, I use the spreadsheet to track your expenses to help you zero out your budget. The seventh step you should take is to improve your spending plan with your personalized budget. And I divide my client's budget by needs and wants, right? Or expenses. My wife and I project our expenses throughout the year so we know how much money we can invest towards our early retirement. Since we're on the FIRE journey, our goal is to save at least 50% of our income. If you can't achieve that 50% savings rate, you need to reassess your expenses. Most of the time, people spend too much money on groceries and restaurants, and you need to be very intentional with every dollar you spend. And you need to try to put a cap on each category. And you can't go into the month of May and spend $1,000 on restaurants, but you also spend $1,000 on groceries for a family of 3 people, right? Do you really need all 5 streaming services? Do you really need to spend $100 a month on subscriptions that you barely use? And then the next step we did was listing our irregular expenses. And the most common annual expenses are your DMV registration fees, doctor's visits for both medical and dental, birthday presents and parties, anniversary, and car maintenances. And these items can cost you hundreds of dollars at a time, right? What I noticed from my clients is that they get these surprising bills and they don't get to save as much money as they could for that month. And there's a way to budget for these irregular expenses, and I will link that video in the description below. You can also schedule a free one-on-one 20-minute financial coaching session by visiting FatFIRE.com/coaching. The 9th step is to evaluate your income. And let's say you did all you could to reduce your expenses and you still feel like you don't have enough coming in. You need to take a look at your overall income. And I'll be completely honest with you, and if you start the FIRE journey at age 35 and you're looking to retire in 10 years making $50,000 a year, it's going to be very difficult unless you're saving 70 or 80% of your income, right? Having a high savings rate will get you to FIRE quick, no doubt about that. But I want you to be able to enjoy your life while you're on the FIRE journey as well. And you shouldn't have to save 80% of your income making $50,000 a year. Your goal should be making $100,000, $150,000, or $200,000 a year or more in earned income. If you're in a career field that caps out at $75,000 a year in income, then you're not growing. And every one of you watching this channel has the potential to make $100,000 a year or more in annual income. Do not let anyone else tell you otherwise. And when I began to pay off $110,000 in consumer debt, I was only making $58,000 a year in gross income. Not only that I had a debt problem, but I also had an income problem. And I applied for several different jobs, and then I eventually found a job that paid $85,000 a year to start, and I was working between 2 jobs to pay off my debt within 2 years. By the time I paid off my debt, my income had increased to over $150,000 a year. Don't ever be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. And if you want to take any risk at all, do it while you're still young. The 10th and final step I took was to create generational wealth. And you should check out the video I made about the buy, borrow, die strategy, and I will put that link in the description below. I know when I die, the step up cost basis is going to help the people I leave behind. And my financial freedom isn't just about me, but it's also leaving a legacy for my children and grandchildren. I met with an estate attorney to make sure my will is in place and every asset has a beneficiary. Having a living trust is especially important for people with a net worth over $1 million, or if you're a single parent with at least $500,000 in assets. I know that our investment accounts will last my lifetime and the next generations long after I'm gone from this world. And creating a generational wealth will also require you to teach your children or grandchildren the importance of investing. And this is why investing in financial education is more important than anything else. Take the time to talk to your beneficiaries, then make sure they understand what to expect if anything happens to you. I also have this FIRE checklist that you can download by visiting firesatchat.com/contact. If you want to know more about how to invest in your generational wealth, be sure to check out these 2 videos. So with that said, I appreciate you watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.